SoulSpeak Living in Color, where we talk about inspirations, following your dreams, and what lights your fire. I'm your host, Sam Philyaw, Rainbow and Thunder voiceover. You can find me at samphilyawvo.com. Hey guys, welcome back to SoulSpeak Living in Color. I am super excited for today's episode because we are featuring the guest Gina Scarpa. I hope I pronounced that right. Okay, good. So Gina is a coach. She talks a lot about SEO, which is something that's really important no matter what business you run. So that's awesome that we get to talk about that on here, especially for creatives, because we all know generally creatives are mostly creative minded, not very business oriented. So, Gina, hello. Thank you for joining.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And if people want to learn a little bit more about me, my website is ginascarpa.com, as well as my studio, positivevoicesct.com. And yeah, I'm happy to connect with people over social media. Just find me at Gina Scarpa.
Awesome. And you can find me at samphilyawvo.com. I was supposed to put that in the beginning. I forgot. I'm sorry. Anyway.
You know what?
This is casual. This is conversational, guys. I never said that I was formal. Okay. I'm in an athletic top. Anyway, tell us about your VO journey so far. So like how long have you been in voiceover and like why did you start?
Oh yeah, okay, great. So I actually started in radio in the late 90s. I am 44 now. Gross. But anyway, so yeah, I started in radio in the late 90s, like straight out of high school. My freshman year of college, I started interning at a station in New Haven, Connecticut, and I ended up on the air for almost 10 years in Connecticut and New York. And after radio, I went to podcasting and entertainment reporting, and I became randomly like a reality TV reporter, and I interviewed people from like every reality show. And somewhere in there in like 2014, I kind of missed radio, but didn't quite want to go back to radio. So someone had suggested kind of, just doing voiceovers from home, and I didn't know anything. So I mean, I just had a USB mic and I was like running around on Fiverr, like just doing my thing, up until like the, closer to 2020, when I made the decision to try to take things more seriously. Then the pandemic hit, and out of full necessity, I upgraded my equipment, went full time, joined voices.com, got an agent, and never looked back. I mean, I've always loved radio, voiceover, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I've been full-time since 2020. I, coach and try to help others get ahead as well. And I really love what I do, and I love this community.
That's awesome and very well precise, I must say. You said that quite well.
I'm not going to take you on the longest journey of the last 25 years. You know what I'm saying?
So it sounds like you've been in voice work like for radio and like hosting, talking to people in reality shows. And so has that been the majority of your working life?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. Although my parents are married for almost 50 years and were directors in my hometown up until their retirement in 2019. So they had a community theater, and my sister and I grew up performing, and I always got a little too nervous on stage. So I eventually avoided it. But I became the education director and won awards for teaching and directing kids and teens in the community. So I did a lot of theater, teaching and directing, which that's why I sort of transitioned over to becoming a voiceover coach, just because it's sort of like in my blood, I guess. And then also I went to school, I went to college, and, like I said, when I first was interning, but I had my son when I was young. I had him when I was 18, and trying to be a mom and balance radio was like too hard. So I left school, went back in my 30s, got my degree in marketing. And throughout all of this time, as like side hustles, part-time jobs, even sometimes full-time jobs, I would work in marketing in corporate America as well. Don't miss it. But the marketing background has been super helpful for voiceover. And I'm always yelling at other voice actors, like, why are you not like using SEO? Why are your casting profiles not optimized? And it's like one of my favorite things to talk about.
Well, we'll get into that today for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really cool though. So you are so well set for running a voiceover business and just being your own boss. You have a pretty well-rounded skill set. That's awesome.
Thank you. I mean, I think it definitely helped because when I went back to get my degree, I almost did it more as like a personal accomplishment, like dropping out in my early 20s. I wanted to feel like I could finish it. And I went back, and at the time my son was in high school and playing sports at a pretty high level, and I was always, at all of his games and trying to work with my family and go back to school. So I graduated with honors, and that was such a nice achievement. But got my degree, and I was really working for myself, I mean, I guess, and working for my family. And I'm like, why did I go into debt to get my degree? But then when I really launched my professional voiceover business, I was like, I am so glad that I had that background in marketing, because I feel like it's kind of given me an advantage, but it's also given me a way to help other people too. I'm not like trying to hide all the secrets and just keep it to myself. Definitely all the experience that I've, been through in life, has
Yeah.
really helped me succeed. I don't know that I would have been able to do this as much if I was like doing it in my 20s. I really didn't go full time till I was already 40. And I think in a lot of ways, it really helped me.
I'm kind of jealous. I wish that I had been more thoughtful and went into something like business, like management or marketing when I was in college. But I'm a creative soul, so I did culinary.
Yeah, I was like,
Not
what
that
did you
I'm,
mean? Like theater, culinary? Was it like photography?
it's funny. I never thought that I wanted to be an actor. I just didn't think that that was gonna be in the cards for me at that time. I mean, I've always been like a singer, mostly self-taught, right? But never thought about acting, never thought about theater because I get bad stage fright
Same.
even when I try to sing. So
Same.
it just never crossed my mind. And I wish that it would have, because had I known that voiceover was going to be a career path for me, I definitely would have attempted to at least do like a business degree or like learn theater or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't realize it could have even been a viable career path for me either until the pandemic, because because I was working with my parents and my sister for so long, and that was really like took a lot of my time and effort, and also because of that sort of stage fright. But I have pretty severe anxiety, and I've always been kind of fighting off agoraphobia. And then as the pandemic hit and I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, it just sort of all kind of came closing in. And in any other situation, I don't know how I could really be successful, sort of being home all the time and not feeling necessarily comfortable in public situations. But then along came voiceover in the pandemic where everything went remote and all these doors opened. And I was like, I mean, this is perfect. I already love doing it. And now I actually can do it. I don't know that I could have done that before the pandemic, which is kind of crazy to say, but I never realized that it could be as amazing as it has been to me.
Absolutely. Everything happens for a reason, I think everything happens
Exactly.
at the right time,
Mhm.
all the time,
Mhm.
whether you know it or you realize it or not. So I love the journeys. I love hearing about it.
Exactly. Actually, I had coffee with my parents today, and I had left like, it's like situations as I was like going full time in voiceover, I left some like personal and professional situations in life that were very, very hard. And I've always like, what is the point of this? But I was watching this video with Steve Harvey from Family Feud of all of a comedian of all things. But he was saying like in this interview with somebody on his talk show, he was saying like if you're not where you're supposed to be, the universe will set up circumstances to move you out of where you are and push you where you're supposed to be. And that literally could just not be more true. Everything happened exactly, and it's like so cheesy, but everything happened exactly when it was supposed to, the way it was supposed to, and when it was supposed to.
I fully believe that.
Mhm.
Telling you guys, look, I'm a stubborn one. I get physical pains when I should be doing something that I don't want to do.
Right.
For example, this has happened to me like 2 or 3 times. I got I the weekend last weekend, sorry,
Mhm.
the weekend before last, because this was VO Atlanta this past weekend. This
Mhm.
has been hectic. I'm sorry.
Right.
The weekend before last, I had been working my butt off for like 3 weeks straight. And, it's been a dry spell for me since the beginning of this year. So I'm the type of person who is like, okay, I obviously need to push harder, work harder, do more, and just stress the hell out of myself. And at some point, I eventually realized I need to just relax and not think about it for a while, and then it'll just come to me. It always does.
Mm-hmm.
So I get into the headspace, okay, I'm going to rest tomorrow. I'm going to crochet. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to do stuff that is restful and not voiceover related.
Right.
So tomorrow comes and I'm doing my crochet stuff. It's getting towards noon and I'm being a lazy bum. And all of a sudden I get this nagging feeling in my head that maybe I should just go do a few auditions. Maybe just schedule some emails for next week. And there's so much I could do. I need to spruce up my website. I really need to fix my Voice 123 profile and blah 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 blah. So I'm all these things are going through my head. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do laundry first, and then I'm gonna go do all that. So I go grab my laundry basket.
Mm-hmm.
Almost immediately, my knee starts hurting. I'm feeling fine the entire day,
Really?
and my knee just starts sharp ass pains as I'm walking, no reason. And so I'm just like, damn, like why is it hurting all of a sudden? I didn't twist it. I didn't
Right.
injure it while I'm working out yesterday. And I put the laundry in and I come back and this thought hits me and I'm like, okay, wait. I was supposed to rest today and now I'm wanting to go and work and stress myself out again.
Mm.
And then I stopped and I was like, okay, not going to do that. Being a lazy bum for the rest of the day. You can stop hurting now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, I'm gonna go sit back
Yep.
down. Thank you.
5 minutes later, pain is gone. Nothing. I
That's
don't feel a
so
damn
funny.
thing. And I was like, yep, okay. It's
Yeah,
the
the universe
universe telling me I need
it knew what to do. It was like, I got this. Don't worry about it. That's so funny.
That's crazy. Moving on though. So why do you love voiceover? What was like the one thing that just makes you keep going when the going gets tough, so to say?
I mean, I think I always liked using my voice. Like even from the time I was little, I would like make radio plays, like or radio shows with a tape recorder. Like, so it's always kind of been, in me, I think. And I really loved, the things I loved about radio, podcasting, and now voiceover is this ability to perform without everyone staring at me all the time. So that for sure is one of them. And then now, as I'm like, 3 years into doing this full time professionally and, gratefully succeeding at it, I feel like I get to bring so much of myself to everything. And I actually was just doing an interview about it. And I was saying how you bring everything into the booth with you, like the good, the bad, the ugly, all your life experiences to try to help you give these really authentic reads. And I feel like it's been very healing in a lot of ways to me, and it's made me feel way more comfortable with who I am. And I don't think if I wasn't doing voiceover that I would really feel that way. Prior to voiceover, I think I was like way more of a sarcastic person, way more guarded. And I've really, I don't know, I've like learned to open up and I've gotten to do some amazing things and met some amazing people. Like I'm just super passionate about it. And whenever someone gets me talking about it, they're like, I can see how much you love it. I'm like, oh, like I can't even put it into words. Like it's the best.
That's incredibly relatable. I was the same way, super like sarcastic and not very expressive type of person before I got into this career path. But I
Right?
think that's the thing about it happens for a reason. You got some experience with other things and then you moved into it. And it's all kind of related in what you do. I did a whole bunch of other career paths. I've been like an assistant administrator. I've been an administrator and a personal trainer, a chef. I've done.
You're like me. I'm like office manager, but
Yeah.
waitress, but marketing specialist, but quality control analyst and call center manager. Like, what are we
Coach,
doing?
athlete.
What
I've
are we
done all of
doing?
these things.
Yeah, but all of
Yeah,
that is relevant. I always tell people everything is relevant to voiceover because you're always playing. I mean, almost always you're playing a real person with real experiences. So you get to draw on those things.
exactly.
That's so funny. You and me, like I'll list a million things on my resume. Someone's going to look at it and be like, what the heck? Like, why have you done a million different things? But I don't know. I just like having a lot of different life experiences, I guess.
Agreed. Agreed. And that's the great thing about voiceover is that being in the entertainment industry, there's so many different like positions that you can do, and you don't even need to work at a company. You can do it all yourself. So like script writing, writing a book, directing talent, coaching, producing your own stuff, making your own samples, demo producing, getting into audio engineering and all this other stuff. It's all related enough to where
Mhm.
you can be all of these things.
Yeah, voiceover adjacent, I say, because at my studio
Yeah.
at Positive Voices, like we do a lot of different things. I mean, we provide like, audio to clients, and we do educational programs, we do coaching, we have like a roster of talent of kids and teens and adults. We write, we do, and it's like all these different skills that I guess I've picked up, and my sister works with me too because we're Italian and you can't stop us from working together. But but we just try to bring all of these skills that we've learned over the years and do a lot of different things. But I feel like now everything I'm doing is just related to voiceover. Whereas before in the beginning, it was like I'm doing 87 different things, and I also kind of do voiceover on the side, I guess, on Fiverr or whatever. But it's all kind of like come together now with all these different things, that we can do.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So what's a dream role and a goal for you? Different things.
I mean, I think like two of my main ones that just will never go away, is in the promo world. I would just love to do promo for Disney or Nickelodeon. I love kids animation and PBS. I've always like gravitated towards that. And on the video game side, because I love video games so much, I'm super determined to work with either Riot Games for like League of Legends or Valorant, or Blizzard for World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch. Like I always tell people whenever I'm not in the booth, I'm playing video games, and people are probably like, she's 44. That's not really what she's doing. Like, yeah, that's really what she's doing. She's literally all day, every day. I play video games. So those are my, my top goals. I would just be like beyond excited to do that. And I feel like I'm always trying to work towards those two goals. And I mean, hopefully it'll happen, and then we can celebrate and say, we talked about it on this podcast and it came true. But I'm
Well,
always thinking about it. It's always like in the back of my head.
that's a good thing that you're well on your way to getting there too. So it's that I think that's a fantastic goal to have.
Yeah, I'm
And
always like
it's
trying to
it's
work
not
towards
too
it.
big, to
No, I'm
where
not
when
like
you get it there, you can create another goal that's even
exactly.
bigger.
I feel like it's semi-realistic. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it could happen. I've met people that work on those games or those networks, and I'm like, I feel, and I've got, some really great representation, and I'm like, I feel like I'm moving towards the door, and I'm ready to knock on it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like that would just be the dream. And I get excited about it, all the time. And you're right. Like, I feel like, okay, if I happen to achieve one of those goals, then I'm just going to set a new one and just keep going. It never stops. Voiceover is just like it's like a little hamster wheel. It just keeps going.
Keep on swimming. Keep
Exactly. Very
swimming.
Dory. Yes.
That's awesome. All right. All right. So we got dreams and we got goals, the big ones and small ones. Let's talk about your favorite things, SEO.
Yes, I know. I really like SEO so much. And I know like when people hear it, they're like, oh my God, like I can't even think about it, or it's just too overwhelming. And I'm like, it's really not as bad as, a lot of people think. And the other thing is like whenever, you were talking earlier about how like sometimes things are super slow and it's really frustrating. And I know how it is because for whatever reason, January is like notoriously awful for me. And people are like, it's not that bad for you. I'm like, oh no, like I'm not even want to talk about it because it's horrible. But when things like that happen, when I get into like slumps or slow times, or even if I'm just kind of feeling down for whatever reason, I immediately try to go to like actionable steps. Like, okay, what are things that I could actually do to push myself forward that aren't going to cost me a million? Because I used to just throw money at voiceover. I'll just buy a new microphone, or I'll just,
Get a new
sign up for
class.
80, yeah, take a new class, a workshop, get a new interface. Like, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go broke. So, well, what are some things I can do that won't break the bank, but actually continue to push me forward? And so pretty quickly on in voiceover, I realized like SEO is something I could, take advantage of and also, help other people with. And, I mean, obviously one of the main things I like about it is that the ultimate goal is to bring clients to you so that you're not always hustling for everything. Last year, 49% of my income was direct in my inbox. And a lot of that is the result of networking, marketing, SEO, and all these other things. So I mean, that's huge because even, in 2020, I mean, if you were like, how much direct came in your inbox? I'm like 0. I mean, like 2%, like no one knew who I was really at the time. And so, I was just sort of introducing myself to people and kind of getting myself out there. But yeah, I mean, people, I guess, find it intimidating because it can seem daunting, but basically like SEO, which is search engine optimization, is just the way that someone can find you ideally through Google. But if you were also thinking about like Voice123 or voices.com or something like that, like just how are you standing out in a sea of other voice actors and things like that? And you can do it through a variety of ways. Like one of the main ways is utilizing keywords on your site. Because what I noticed, and I analyze a lot of people's websites for voiceover, is it's very audio heavy, which obviously we're voice actors. So you would think that, yeah, that's what you want to do. But what it lacks is content. It lacks a lot of writing about you as an artist, about the genre that you might work in. And so without that content, Google really can't know who you are, what you do, or rank you for it. So, it's writing content for your website. It's utilizing keywords. It's trying to get other sites to link back to you, which is the hardest part of SEO. But if everybody would just start writing content for their website, I would be happy. Because I go on people's website, I'm like, okay, I've got a picture, I've got a demo and your phone number. But like, I don't know how Google can know. I don't know how Google can know anything else about you. From a client perspective, like when you're marketing, look, if you have your headshot and your demos and everything's contact form in your your phone number and your email up front, great. Then you've done your job. But if you wanted to rank in Google, you got to do a lot more work than that, but it's like, it's doable. It's achievable, especially if you like writing. If you don't like writing, I'm sorry.
The About Me section is pretty important, guys.
Yes, and please, I always tell people you got to speak in the third person. Everybody, a lot of people are like, "Hi, I'm a voice actor," and say I and me a lot, and I'm like, Google doesn't know who I and me is, so you got to say Gina Scarpa is blah blah blah. Gina is, even on my casting profiles, you'll find like I often talk in the third person, and it's not because I am being an ass. It's she only speaks about herself in the third person. No, because I want the search engine to say, well, if someone's searching, if someone's on Voices or Voice123 and they're searching Gina, like I need her to come up, because otherwise they're like, I don't know, again, what I or me is. Same if you like put photos up on your website and you don't name them something other than image 1234, like Google's like, I don't know what this is. You got to call it like Gina Scarpa headshot.jpg or whatever, voice actor Gina Scarpa. Like it's super important that you're, always using your name and labeling things properly so that, whatever site you're trying to optimize for knows what the heck you are, like who you are and what you're doing.
Right. If you guys, if you want to get clients and rank number 1 on Google, these are important steps. This is how you get people to come to you.
I think people feel like they can't do it. Like you're trying to take down like behemoths on Google, whether that be like, again, the casting sites, obviously even a site like Fiverr, it ranks incredibly well for, the more generic keywords like voiceover, but you can get more specific, like female e-learning narrator or female political voice talent or something like that. Like every genre that you work in should have its own page, and you can definitely make moves against a lot of the big people on Google. So my website used to be voiceoversbygina.com, and then I swapped from Wix to WordPress, started again, like from scratch, made my URL ginascarpa.com. So basically I was wiped off of Google in the second half of last year and started from the bottom. And we started at the bottom and now we're at the top because we're like gaining on these, other female voice actors that have paid thousands of dollars into their site and have a company running things for them. And here's me and my sister with, her master's degree in English, and me with my SEO knowledge. And we just came running hard for people. And, we're showing up in like the top 10, the top 20. And the more specific we get, the more successful we are. So I ranked number 1 on Google for kids voiceover coach, because really how many kids voiceover coaches are there and how many kids voiceover coaches are optimizing their website. But I do really well in a lot of the other spaces like e-learning, corporate narration, political. And you want to think about those non-broadcast genres, because that's where a lot of your direct buyers are going to come from. Like, yeah, you can book some local commercials or maybe regionals and even some nationals direct, but a lot of that time that's going to come from your agents and things, or, maybe the casting sites as well. But, you can get a lot of mileage out of corporate narration, e-learning and things like that. So yeah, I'm always trying to push people. I'm trying.
And it's really also a lot about finding where you fit in the industry, which genres you fit in. So like for me,
yes,
I have a hard time fitting in with corporate narration, medical narration, and e-learning, even though I would love to do those things. It's just I can't get my voice that low. Naturally, my voice is like a 15-year-old, 16. So you find different things. So like K-12 e-learning or narration, toys, toy commercials. I do a lot of those things, but a
Yeah.
lot of like broadcast commercials, a lot of bigger jobs that you're really not going to find on your own unless you have rapport with those clients are going
Mhm.
to come from agents. And that's why agents are, a great tool to have in your box, but they're not the, end all be all, right?
No. And I remember when I got my first agent, I was like, okay, I got an agent, like I'm set. And then I was like, oh wait, no, I feel like so much more work, and recently, in February, I signed with ACM for management, and I was super excited. I've been trying for so long. And I remember like when I met with, Mark Gus from ACM, he was like, we're going to bombard you with auditions. And I was like, bring it. And then my inbox started blowing up and I was like, oh my God, like, wait, hold on. Like I was joking. I was like, in Harry Potter, when the letters come from Hogwarts, like, that's how I felt. I was like, oh my God, wait, like, everything was like, do ASAP, do tomorrow. I need 2 takes. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm trying to keep up with all this. Like, your agents are a great piece of the pie, but I always tell people like, but you're the pie or you're the cake, they're just the icing on the cake to give you these big opportunities, but there's so much that you can do yourself and so many opportunities. And you brought up a really great point, which was, where do you fit? So when it comes to like writing content on your website, a great kind of formula to follow is, if you're talking about e-learning, start by, well, what is e-learning? I mean, what do voiceover and e-learning have to do with each other? You start with a little introductory paragraph kind of explaining what it is. And then you get into, but what do you specifically bring to the table as an e-learning narrator? What genres might you fit in? Or, what's unique about your background or your voice? And before you know it, you've written 300 or 400 words of content that can go, onto your website. And it's a really great way to follow. Like, what is corporate narration? Okay, then what do you bring as, someone who can voice for, corporations and businesses and things like that? Because a lot of times people are like, I don't even know what to say. They're like, I don't know what to say, especially when they're new. They're like, I don't know what to say about myself. Like, I haven't actually booked anything. I'm like, yeah, but everybody provides value to a client, through one thing or another. It might be how fast you respond. It might be your studio, but also might be your background, your personality, your voice type, or whatever. So it's kind of a good model to follow, and hopefully helps people kind of get their brains thinking about
Yeah,
SEO and feeling like it's achievable.
that's something to definitely think about whenever you first start, doing this as a career, and doing your website. It's hard to figure out or really understand what value you bring as a voiceover artist, because I mean, obviously there's hundreds of thousands of other voice artists out there
Literally.
that
Mhm.
they can do the same thing you do. I mean, they don't have the same voice exactly, but
Right.
a lot of people provide fast turnaround. A lot of people
Yeah,
can
we all
do,
have good studios. We all did
yeah,
coaching, right? I mean,
it's super competitive. So you
yes.
really have to like dig down deep and figure out what it is that is going to bring the clients to you.
Yeah, no,
Why clients love working with you.
it's such a great point. Like, I think, in my e-learning page, like, my sister and I worked on it together, and we talk a lot about my background in education of working with kids and teens, and things like that. Or, in my radio imaging page about my background in radio. But, in every single page, we were able to kind of find something about me personally that I bring to the genre that is just unique about me. But it's a lot easier said than done sometimes. Honestly, that's what I was saying earlier on when we were talking. I said, I've learned so much about myself from voiceover, because you start asking yourself that question, what do I bring to the table? Like, I mean, you're like, I don't know, so I have to do like a lot of soul searching and be like, I mean, it's like, again, cheesy. What is special about me? What is unique about me? But it's like a nice thing to think about too, and there's like no wrong answer because it's unique to you and your experiences.
Exactly. I've only recently figured out what real value I bring to the table. I'm a multi-passionate jack of all trades. I'm only 28 and I've had like 5, 6 different career paths since I was 8.
You sound like me. I'm the same. Like all these
Right?
different things. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's
And I
like,
bring all that to the table, just like you.
exactly. Exactly. And even like trying to figure out, branding is another thing that people have a really hard time with. And because again, you're asking, well, what is it about me that really stands out? And so people sometimes just say like random adjectives and, and just like try to go on their way instead of making it really unique about them. But actually it was Celia Siegel that made me think about my branding in the first place because she spoke at eVocation in 2020. And after I heard her speak, I went on Facebook and I asked everybody, like, describe me in 3 words. And, I had some people that I met through voiceover, a lot of people I went to high school, college with, parents of kids that I taught, my family members. And I was expecting everyone to be like sarcastic, funny. I was like, correct. And everybody was like warm, friendly. I was like, ew, no, hilarious. And everyone's like, friendly, like you make everybody feel welcome. And I was like, damn it, no. But then I was like, how I saw again, but that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that sarcasm, that defensiveness underneath it all is just this, I think a pretty warm and caring person that really wants to help everybody. So that kind of launched my brand, which was meet your new best friend. And I want everyone when they talk to me to feel like, oh, I really did just I feel like I know you. And for my clients, it's like, you need something, I'll do it right away because that's what a friend would do. You need this pickup. I'm not going to charge you $50. Like, here's the pickup line. Just take it, because again, that's what a friend would do. So it really came from like listening to other people and then embracing that part of myself and just saying, let me let my walls down and let me be my true self and let that kind of shine through in my auditions and my business interactions with people and things like that. But it's like, so much about voiceover, like we're saying, is like knowing yourself. I wouldn't think that would be it, but it is. And I teach a lot of teens. I teach at a private school in Manhattan, called the Chapin School, which is so nice online. And I always tell them, like, I know you guys are gonna think I'm cheesy, but like seriously, just be yourself. And they're like, okay, like they're just 14, probably like, okay, like, yeah, be myself. Like, no, really, like, be yourself. That's good. That's gonna carry you a lot farther in voiceover than like probably 90% of the other things you're doing to try to get
Absolutely.
right.
Did you do a word cloud?
No, what? Oh, like just like all the different,
Yeah,
yeah.
all the different words or adjectives that people described you as. Did you put it into like a word cloud?
So I made a list. I made a list of everything that everybody said on Facebook, and then I was like tallying it up, almost like votes. Like I was like, wow, this keeps coming up. Where's this? Where's the sarcasm? Where's the, And it was like, it was just warm, friendly, welcoming, inclusive, all these other, and I was like, okay, fine. But it actually really did help. And that's like advice I try to give people too is like something like your Facebook page has oftentimes for people, a collection of people from so many different experiences in your life. So when you ask someone, hey, describe me in 3 words, and you get all these people, here's my friend from high school, and here's a mom of a kid, and here's my aunt, and here's my cousin, and here's this person I worked in radio with, and everyone just keeps saying the same thing. Like, it's interesting to see how other people, see you and things like that. And Facebook was it was a really good place to ask because I felt like a
Absolutely.
collection of people. Yeah, Facebook was good for something.
And that's something that I want to like recommend for anybody who's listening who wants to work on their SEO and their branding and doing all that kind of stuff. Because I did my branding with Celia. I loved it. It was awesome to go on that self-discovery journey because when I came to her, I really wasn't sure what I liked or who I really was. And she kind of helped me figure that out. One of the things that I did with her, I actually did this twice because I did it with her and I did it with LOLB with Jonathan Tilley.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm gonna put this up here. It's gonna be we're gonna like put it in the middle over here somewhere in the video. I did a word cloud and I did it in the shape of a bat. So it was awesome.
Of course.
Had a lot of words that really struck me that I wasn't expecting. Like you weren't expecting kind and warm and like funny, which are all fantastic. I got a lot of words that were like determined and adventurous, quirky. I got limitless, which I was like, oh, you really,
Wow.
it's awesome.
Wow.
Thank you. A whole bunch of different words that I wasn't expecting because my guard was up. I wasn't really overly friendly per se, very much of an introvert, and I stuck to myself most of the time. So it's kind of nice to hear that other people thought of me that way, as I'm sure it is for almost everybody who does this exercise.
Agreed. And I feel like it has like it like helps you even outside, it like helps you as a person. I know, again, it's like cheesy, but it's true. It's like it really has, I don't know, like implications just outside of voiceover of being, again, being more comfortable with who you are, more carrying yourself with more confidence, really embracing the things that make you unique instead of trying to fit in with what everybody else wants, because people trying to fit in voiceover is just never going to serve you well. It's just that everybody's giving a cookie cutter performance. So you need to be authentic and you need to have your own point of view. But I feel like that really can help people in life who sometimes maybe struggle with that confidence and feeling comfortable, and, even into your like adult, like midlife, later adult life, like
midlife crisis.
yeah, like you struggle with it. I mean, I always tell people the story about my mom. She just turned 69 over the weekend and we celebrated her birthday, but my mom is a super talented actor. I'm not just saying that, like she really is. And so, but after her retirement, she really didn't do much. So, acting. So I was trying to get her into voiceover. And one day, like we were at my studio because I had a physical space for a while, and she was in the booth and I was like, okay, ready, go. And she started reading and I was like, why are you talking like that? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, just talk like yourself. And she was like, I don't know how. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you're 67 years old. Like, what do you mean you don't know how to talk like yourself? But it's like she spent her whole life playing other characters that when I said, just be yourself, she had to pause and be like, wait a minute.
Who
like,
am
how
I?
do I be myself? And the woman's almost 70, But it was like a really, I don't know, it was like a new lesson for her to learn because she was just so used to playing other people. And I was like, this is just you. Just be you talking about this life insurance policy. And she was like, I don't know how. So it was very, very funny to like, I was just yelling at her, like, what are you doing?
I feel like, I haven't had a lot of experience as far as like on screen acting or theater acting, but I do feel like that's a big difference that voice actors experience versus on screen or theatrical actors, is that we really do have to figure out who we are in order to bring that emotional experience forward in the voice, because it has to be impactful. When you're on screen or when people can see you acting, it's
Right.
it's different.
And you can rely on a lot of things, facial expressions, body language, oftentimes being in a scene with somebody else, but and you have a director, but we, especially post pandemic, like we do so much
by ourselves.
Yeah, we're just trying to guess. Like I just did an audition today for something that I'm so excited. I mean, I would love to get it. And I'm just like, I mean, is this right? I don't know. Here you go. Just submit it to Dropbox. But that's so true. And I often like I'm looking at scripts saying to myself, like, okay, like, what does this remind me of? Or like, how can I relate to this? Literally anything. I mean, or I'm always imagining myself in the situation. Like I say to people, let's say you're auditioning for an e-learning project and you're going to play a doctor. I'm not like, oh, I'm playing a doctor. I say to myself, okay, if you weren't doing voiceover and you were really going to be a doctor in a hospital, what would you, Gina, be like? And to me, I feel like it comes out way better than if I'm like, I'm playing this doctor. Because for me, there's like a disconnect. So I'm always imagining myself in every scenario. Like if this was a zombie apocalypse and you were going to fight people, with a sawed off shotgun, like what are you like, like Gina in the apocalypse. And to me, like it's also fun, but it really does help to just put myself in every situation, or just say, what does this remind me of? Let me take that feeling and put it into this script,
Exactly. They have to hear that coming from your voice without any other visual cues.
Yeah, they're going to know. I mean, a good casting director, right? They know if you're like BSing. They're going to be like,
they can hear if you're connected or not.
First of all, a lot of times they're only listening to the first few words anyway. So, they're listening to like the first sentence, if that. I mean, it might even be like, let's say it's a Starbucks where it's like at Starbucks, like that, and everyone's at Starbucks, next person at Starbucks. And someone's like, at Starbucks? And they're like, oh, wait, that's a little different. Like maybe you get 2 to 5 words, and it's like, you got to grab them right away with that commitment and that authenticity and being like, wow, now that's different. I haven't really heard that before, So it's always the struggle of being an at-home voice actor, the self-direction that's trying to be yourself, all the time. It's tiring, but it's great. And it's challenging. It's definitely challenging. It's more than people who are outside of voiceover, like, oh, you just get a microphone and talk. I'm like, yeah, I wish all I had to do was get a microphone and talk, but it's 1,000 other things on top of that.
Did you know you could make $400 an hour
reading
just
in your pajamas and your USB mic before bed? did you know? It's like, oh yeah, I wish. And so much of voiceover is like, a lot of times it's like, there's so many things that are not about your talent as well, which is like, the ability to market and network and, getting to know people or optimize. I mean, none of that has to do necessarily with, obviously my talent as a voice actor has to do with business sense or, whatever, there's a million
Right.
other factors that go into things, And I was even interviewing, today I was actually interviewing Susan Bennett, who's the voice of Siri, and literally the nicest person in the world, by the way, like so incredibly kind. And she was saying how like she was talking to a casting director or an agent, and they were saying for one audition, they got 300 auditions, and they just couldn't, they didn't have the time to listen to everything. So they were just clicking around. It's almost like the lottery. Like, so I submit my audition, right? It's in the Dropbox. And the casting director's like, I'm gonna click up here. Okay, I'm gonna click down here. I'm gonna click over here. I'm like, please click on my name. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so many factors that go into your success as a voice actor. And a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with you. So then it makes it easier to not take things personally either when things aren't necessarily going your way, because it doesn't even have to do with you.
As another reason that I mentioned VO Atlanta. I went to VO Atlanta. Like I said earlier, it's been a dry spell, so honestly, I couldn't actually afford it, but we went anyway.
But we did it anyway.
We did it anyway. Because I feel like the conferences, not only are they a great get together to see friends and
Oh
meet
yeah.
new people, but it's also in a very important networking time. Sometimes you got casting directors there, you have agents, you have bigger voice actors who give referrals and like recommendations, and it's
Mhm.
to in my experience, it's who knows you, not who
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Yes. Someone said to me, the only difference between you and people more successful than you, Gina, is that people just don't know who you are yet. Because I was really
Exactly.
frustrated. I felt really stuck, maybe like a year into being full time. I was like, oh, what is going on? And they were like, they just don't know you yet. And when they know you, I promise you, like things are going to change. And those conferences are super important for a lot of reasons, especially working on our own all the time, just being with other voice actors that we've seen online on Zoom or Twitter, Facebook, like that's so important. And I really wanted to go to Atlanta, but like for me, traveling just is not like in the cards
Yeah.
right now. But like, evocation, which was the first conference I went to me, it was like literally career changing. The amount of people that I was able to meet and connect with, I felt was so helpful. And not even like, oh, they were giving me jobs. I just learned so many things. I was like, wow, I need to wake up and get it together if I'm going to be successful at this. So many great speakers that year. And I really credit that with helping me, elevate to the next level. So if anyone's ever like, oh, should I go to a conference? Like, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, for
Yes.
a million reasons. Yeah,
At
but
least
people
at least
knowing you for
one
sure.
in a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'll go to Evocation again this year just because I really like going and seeing everybody on Zoom, and that's all I can do right now. But I'm also trying to plan like a VO day in Connecticut because it's so close to the city, and so many people were like, if you do a VO day in Connecticut, like I would totally come. So I was kind of debating between sort of like more of a, I don't know, like a motivational day that wasn't like necessarily about the business of voiceover, but just you as a business owner, you as a person, or whatever, you bringing unique things to the table. But then I also was like, it'd be really fun to do like, I don't know, almost like, field day in elementary school, like just an outdoor like camp day kind of thing for voice actors. I don't know, something
Dude, go to a
that
park and have like this giant
exactly. Like
picnic.
a giant picnic with games and activities, and people could bring their families. And so I'm kind of debating sometime like in the late summer, early fall, but I know that there's a bunch of things that go on then too. So we'll see. But Connecticut in like the early fall, mid fall is like the best. So
I love
I'm
that.
hoping to do something like that. I'm like, listen, if I'm going to go to a conference, everyone's going to need to come to me.
That's freaking
Because
cool.
this girl with her autoimmune disease and her agoraphobia ain't going nowhere. So everybody needs to come to me. I'm like, I'll make it fun though. Come to me and I'll make it fun.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Very main
Okay.
character energy. Everybody come to me. Okay. I'm just
Right?
kidding. No, if I could have gone to Atlanta, I absolutely would have. I felt like everybody I ever knew was there. I was like, oh my God, like all the pictures. I was like, is literally everyone I've ever met in voiceover in one place. I would have been overwhelmed for sure. I would have been
It
chasing
was
everybody down.
definitely super
Yeah.
stimulating for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I need a nap now. Thank you.
I was lucky enough to have my partner and his best friend join me for our drive, because it's only about 5 hours from my house via
Well, that's
Atlanta.
not too bad.
So we drove over there. They played board games all weekend. They got to like roam the city a little bit and have fun. And I got to like go to a familiar, person whenever I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. So just
No, that's really nice. I like that.
yeah. I didn't have that the last couple of years. So
Now you
it
have
was
it.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
So, I want to try and, keep it around an hour. So let's go to real quick hobbies. I know you're a do it everything kind of person. So what are your main hobbies?
Honestly, it's really, like I said before, it's really video games and then like card games. I really love Magic the Gathering. And I played so much before the pandemic. I would play like, oh my gosh, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. And my bank account was hating me because Magic is not a cheap game to play. And I played in tournaments and I went to like national tournaments. I don't know. Listen, as recently as 2019 or 2018, I was still driving around. I don't know what happened. But anyway, now I'm just like homebound and hiding in my booth all day. But I love Magic and I love video games. So I play like League of Legends, Valorant, been playing like Elden Ring. I don't know. I recently like started playing CS:GO. Call of Duty, who can explain it? But that's kind of what I like to do. I feel like I like it because it requires my focus and concentration to be good at the game. So it allows me to kind of let go of the stress or shake off like, a long day. It's like a nice escape for me. And other than that, like hanging out with my 2 dogs who are in here with me right now and scrolling TikTok until they ban it. Don't ban it. It's my entertainment. Please.
Please, thank you.
Please.
Oh my
I need
gosh.
to scroll it
That's
every
where
night
I
and send my
learn everything.
yeah, this is how I know. Listen, where do you think I get my like orzo recipes or sushi bake recipes from? Is TikTok.
Right?
Like they're like they want your data. I'm like, what do you want? My sushi bake recipes or like I don't even know, like 90s nostalgia
I'll
videos?
willingly share this with you.
Yeah, like listen, if you want it, take my orzo recipes, I guess. Like I don't know what you think I'm looking at, but I don't know what everyone else is looking at, but that's mine's very lame. But yeah,
I don't
that's
know. I
basically
have a secret pizza chicken recipe that nobody can have. So
oh, my sushi bake recipe, I've gone like way overboard with it. Like I found it on TikTok and then I eat it like 3 times a week. And I just had it yesterday and I was like, okay, like we've eaten it too many times. Okay, no more. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I talk to my family every day. I see them pretty regularly. I see my parents like a couple times a week for coffee and things like that. So I like spending time with them and they've been so like unbelievably supportive. And I think that means a lot because when my parents retired, I had the opportunity or the option to take over the family business and it just for me I just couldn't imagine like sitting in board meetings budgeting all day. I was like I like being creative, working with the kids and the teens and things like that. So my dad, was like super understanding and supportive that this was not the path for me and I didn't need to do what he or they had done in their life. So I love seeing my family, my son, spending time with them. Who my son's 26, almost your age. Oh my God, Sam, I can be your mom.
oh no.
Dio mama, Dio mama. Yeah, but
That's funny. Most of my voiceover friends that I've actually connected with have been like my mother's age.
really, no, that's funny because that's funny they said because I tend to, connect with people that are younger than me that are like, in their whatever 20s or something like that. But one of my best friends in voiceover, Luca Papp, who's a great voice actor, it was I don't she's not even 30 yet, but anyway, she was going to a Third Eye Blind concert with her boyfriend. And so I said in like we were talking over Discord about it and I said, so when you go to the Third Eye Blind concert, make sure you yell and I typed it all out in caps like do 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 like semi-charm life and she was like, haha, okay. And I was like, please tell me you know what I'm talking about. And she's like, I don't. I was like, goodbye. Like, no, I'm not that old that you don't know Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind. So she's like, oh, I asked my boyfriend and he sang it right away. And then she took a video at the concert of everybody singing. And I was like, I know. What do you mean?
How is she going to a Third Eye Blind concert and doesn't know?
Yeah, like we're almost 20 years apart.
Oh
but like,
no.
We get along so well. And that's just always been me. So that's funny that you kind of gravitate, sometimes towards like people that are a little bit older, me with a little bit younger. See, this is perfect, Sam.
It's great.
It's so perfect.
Kindred souls. It doesn't matter what age.
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't feel 44. People are usually surprised when they find out I have a
You don't
26.
even look 44. Honestly, you look like you're in your young 30s, or at least from what I can tell. So
Yeah, when I tell people like,
you're
oh,
making it.
my son's birthday, he's 26. They're like, sorry, what? I'm like, yeah, you heard me. Like, what happened when you were 4? I'm like, no. I'm like 18, but still trying to keep it looking young. But yeah, people are always surprised. And when I worked in an office, my son was like in high school. I said to somebody one time, oh, like after work, I got to go grocery shopping. I got to bring my son. He's not going to want to go. And they were like, I'll just buy him a toy and he'll be fine. I was like, well, he's 15. So, and they were like, I'm sorry. I thought he was like 3. I was like, no, he's 15. Definitely.
That's hilarious.
No, full grown adult, beard. He's a great video game player, great great social media manager, manages accounts with like millions of followers. He's very, very savvy when it comes to that. So I like to ask him. I know, right? I like to ask him questions like, what do you think about this or that? See what's going on. And he's always proud when I book those video game roles because it's one of his passions as well.
I've been trying to get my partner to be my social media manager because I'm terrible at social media and he's not very good at it either, but he can do it for other people.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just not good at his own social media.
Oh my son, he does not want to like, he doesn't like to necessarily, he's a very behind the scenes kind of guy, and so he doesn't really do his own kind of content, helping other people as well. But yeah, he runs 2 pretty big accounts on Twitter and TikTok and stuff that have like, millions of followers. I'm always like, why don't you, me, the business mind, right? Why don't you put yourself out there and make your own content? He's like,
I don't wanna
do it for other people.
That's incredible. Do you play games with him?
Yeah, we play together. Yeah, we play League of Legends together, and in League, you like play in different lanes, and the bot lane has 2 people that play together, and so he'll play the ADC position, and I play the support position, and we just all over people, and we always laugh about it because we're like, wonder if like people on the the other side of the screen know it's just a mother son, like just running them down. We play very well together, so yeah, we play things together, which is very fun. Sometimes his friends are like, invite your mom, and he's like, no. They're like, let your mom play. He's like, no, my mom is not coming to play. So I'm like banned from playing with his friend group.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, he's like, she cannot come. They're like, want to ask her about her games and voiceover. He's like, no. It's like, oh, but you said she plays Magic. Like, we like Magic. He's like, no, you're not talking to my mom. He's very protective of me. He's like, no, guys, nobody's talking to my mother. Thank you.
It's like you're a celebrity or something.
Yeah. He's like he's my security. He's my bodyguard. He's like, no, you can't get close to her. Don't talk to her.
I love it. So let's go into the last bit of this, and then we'll wrap it up so that we don't go too long. I've gone at almost 3 hours before. I try not to do that.
It's so funny. Oh my god. Like the Lord of the Rings extended version.
You're right. That's about as long as it.
Bonus content. This is the director's cut.
Extended. I love the extended. Anyway, okay. So advice for people who are doing voiceover work, trying to level up their career through better marketing, branding agents. We did touch on this a little bit when we were talking about all of this stuff, but are there any words of advice, any golden nuggets that you'd give for people who are trying to level up?
I would say that definitely coaching and training is really important. And I'm big on like getting into workshops and classes with a lot of good decision makers in the industry. So like getting to know casting directors and getting to know agents before you just blind submit to them and letting them know who you are. I also think that it's important to listen to the advice of more experienced voice actors, but not always take it as like the Bible. Like you can listen to everyone's advice and then kind of decide that you can do what's best for you. Because a lot of times, sometimes people will say things that are just meant to, I don't know, like scare you off. Like you're going to get blacklisted if you do this, or no one's going to take you seriously. And it's like, I don't know that that's necessarily,
Fiverr, for example. I don't want to
Fiverr's a great example. And I'll tell you, like, I used to kind of downplay it when I first went full time and I was teaching and voiceover and stuff like that because I was worried people would judge me. But my new statement in all of my workshops is I started on Fiverr and I don't apologize for my journey. Anybody who tells you that you're going to get blacklisted, I'm, repped with some of the best agents in the country. I've voiced with a million big brands. Nobody ever was like, oh my God, wait, you were on Fiverr. Goodbye. Like it's literally never even been a conversation. No one cares where I started or anything like that. So, you know, that's one thing. Like, don't let people necessarily scare you away. You should definitely value yourself, of course, and try to get great rates and get what you deserve. But nobody's like out there scouring the internet to be like, oh my God, like I can't even deal with her being on Fiverr. Like that's not a thing. And also like you have all of the control over your career and it's not going to come from anybody else. Like, you know, yes, it's nice to be repped with ACM, but one of the conversations I had with Mark when I first joined and I met with all the agents and managers there was, you know, we know this isn't going to slow you down. You're just going to keep doing your thing, you know, business wise. I was like, oh my God, of course. Like, yeah, thank you for being part of the team, but I know that it's on me and I need to keep doing what I'm doing. So, you know, you have the control over your career. You can definitely listen to people around you, but you can make your own decisions. Nobody's out to get you. And you don't need to second guess everything. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, you know, I don't know, maybe submit somewhere before you're always totally ready. Like it's okay. You know, I just feel like sometimes people are very held back by their fear of failure or the fear of what other people are going to say. And I just feel like it's not always representative of like what's actually going to happen, you know, in the world of voiceover. So you just got to push yourself forward because every minute you pause, somebody else is making moves. That's what I always tell people. I'm always trying to make moves and I'm definitely not the only one. So everybody who's sitting around like, I don't know if I should do this or that. I'm like, I already did 75 things today to try to push myself forward. And, you know, it'd be best for you to try to do the same because it's such a competitive industry. It's crazy. I don't think there's ever been more voice actors than now. Right? Everybody's a voice actor. Everybody.
Exactly. I wish that in the beginning I had not been so scared of coming off rubbing people wrong by joining like Fiverr and other pay to play sites like I don't know, Voice Bunny or something like that. I chose the ones that I chose because they were the main two, the voices.com and the Voice 123. So I chose those because they're the main two that people get work on. They're the easiest to work on.
And you can find really good rates on there too.
Yeah, you can generally find pretty good rates. Some of the rates aren't great, but a lot of them are at least. But Fiverr was so it's so black and white with a lot of people.
You would think the devil himself ran Fiverr, like the way people are. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad rates on there. But there's a lot of people on there who make six figures, make great livings. I mean, one of the people that spoke at VO Atlanta is Alice Everdeen, who had an article written about her in CNBC and like travels the country in a converted bus, living her best life. And she makes a ton on Fiverr. And she's like, I'm not apologizing for it. It's what I do. And I'm always like, she has my respect because it's like she doesn't back down to what other people think she should and shouldn't do. She's doing great. She's voiced with a lot of big brands and that's awesome. But yeah, I used to like really downplay it. But interestingly, a very big casting director recently said in a workshop that I was in, like within the last 6 months or a year, like if I was first starting, like I'd probably start on Fiverr. And I was like, what? I was in the workshop like, oh my gosh, really? And then one of my agents sent me an audition and the reference was a Fiverr talent. It was a link to a Fiverr profile. And I was like, okay. I thought Fiverr was all bad. I mean, don't get me like Fiverr and Upwork and these other sites, like, yeah, like people would consider it sort of the lower tier of voiceover, but everybody has to start somewhere, right? Like everybody just can't be LeBron James going straight to the NBA out of high school. Like, you know, you got to play in like the Pee Wee League and do the basketball camps in the summer and all these things. And you build yourself up. And I always say people who are really professional and successful being threatened by Fiverr is like, again, it's like LeBron James being threatened by the Boys and Girls Club of his local town. It's like, what are we talking about here? What are we even talking about? It's not the same thing. The opportunities on Fiverr are not the same as the opportunities coming from the best agents in the country. I don't lose sleep over it and I don't care what anybody's doing. I'm just like, I don't even worry about it. It doesn't matter.
You got to do what you got to do to survive. I mean, everything is so expensive nowadays. Like,
thank you for, yes. And that's why I say in a post-pandemic world,
nobody should be judging you for that.
Yes, we almost, I mean, really, like, I almost lost my apartment and probably would have had to move home. I mean, my parents would have obviously welcomed me home, and I'm lucky that I have them to do that. But it was very scary in the beginning of 2020. And I went full time, like, well, I mean, if it's not this, I guess I'm leaving my apartment. But I just feel like with everything that's happened, like, how we're telling people, like, you can't make money like this and you can only do it like that. It's like, I don't know. I just try not to be judgmental of people. And I just don't think it's that, like you're saying, it's just not that black and white. You know, there's no wrong way to do voiceover necessarily.
Right. When people say when I hear others tell people this is how you do something, and this is how you do this and that. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
but is it?
this is how I feel every time I go in a Facebook group and someone's like, I have a question. I recently joined Fiverr and I was wondering how people maybe set their prices. And
Oh my
someone's like,
God, in the bombarding comments.
first of all, your first mistake was getting on Fiverr. And sometimes I want to comment, that's not what they asked. That wasn't
Right.
the
That was
question.
not the question.
Nobody said, what's your opinion of Fiverr? They said, I just joined Fiverr and I'm wondering how I should price my gigs. You can take, but as you know, and it's like, the minute someone's like snarky and rude like that, I'm just like, why do we have to even respond in that kind of way? And actually, I met two of my closest friends, Dominic and Nicole Draper, aka the VO couple, who are with Philyaw as well, because they tried to ask a question on Facebook, and I believe the question was about Fiverr years ago, and nobody would give them, like, everyone was being snarky, and I messaged them on Facebook. I didn't even know them, and Dom, and I said, do you want to like meet on Zoom and I'll just like answer your questions? And he was like, yes, please. And then we ended up becoming great friends. They drove up from Delaware with their you know, with their son, and like we all had food together and it was great. But I mean,
That's
like,
awesome.
I just was like, why can't we just answer the question? And there's so many times I want to be a keyboard warrior and like fire back at people. Like, why do you have to be rude? But you know, then they're just going to be rude to me. And I'm like, it's not even worth my energy. And to
Right.
me, like, it's not the way I want to put my energy out into the world. So I don't understand why people they would say they're doing it to try to look out for people, but I feel like there's a way to go about it. And it's like, we don't need to make people feel bad about themselves. And we don't need to like scare and intimidate people. Like you're going to get blacklisted. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I notice a lot of agents, the younger they're getting as well, you know, seem to be like more just open, not to you being on Fiverr, but just like, they're not like appalled and horrified. They're like, you know, maybe it's probably not the best move for you. You might want to make a change, but they're not just like, get out of my inbox. I'm never talking to you again. Never apply here. Like no one's acting. Who's acting?
That's so crazy. I remember looking at an agent's website or an agency website, and this in the submission details, there was a part of it that said if you were on any pay to play,
Yeah.
Fiverr included, that don't submit.
I saw one,
Like,
but it was
we don't want that.
Was it a I mean, it wasn't like a New York, LA. Was it like a regional? Because I saw it was like on like, you know, sort of not New York and LA, somewhere in a different.
No, I think it was a regional.
Yeah,
But
it was. I thought.
what? Okay, I understand that we can do direct marketing, right? You got to be really great at marketing to get all of your clients from direct marketing.
You do. And you got to put a lot of time into it. And the success rate is very low. So what I like not my argument for Fiverr, but I'm saying the reason why I understand why people would be on Fiverr. First of all, you don't need to audition. You put up your gigs and people just hire you. So it's super convenient, right? Because especially if you work another job, you're just trying to test the waters. Like people just hire you and say, here you go, here's $20, do this. Should you be doing it for $20? No. Could you earn 200, 250, 500? Yeah, but whatever, that we're not talking about that. And it's like the success rate of direct marketing is very low. So you have to have a lot of perseverance and thick skin to do direct marketing every day and send, you know, like Mark Scott from VOpreneur, somebody says, and I listen to him, you know, 10, 20 emails a day. I'm doing it. Let me tell you, I'm doing it. I'm professional. I have a great resume. My response rate is very low. I mean, it's hard to get ahead in direct marketing. I do it, and when it works, it's great. But someone who might get, you know, demotivated or discouraged easily, like you've got Fiverr over here saying, just come over here. You don't even need to audition. I'll just give you job, you know, and it's like, it's hard to argue with that, you know, sometimes that mentality for certain people. But my goal is always try to eventually say, let's try to get off, let's try to move past it because you're worth more than that. And let me try to show you different ways that you could actually get work. And then you would just phase it out. I'm not saying leave the platform and have nothing, but let's replace it, which is what I did. I replaced Fiverr, you know, and Upwork with just better paying jobs, better clients, you know, and that's the goal. So that's sort of that's my philosophy. If anyone ever wants to have a conversation with me about Fiverr and Upwork, now you know where I stand.
Right. There you go. So we don't want any judgmental assholes. No rudeness going on.
No, not here. You're never going to find it from me. I'll tell you like it is. I'll give you some advice, but I'm not going to like come down on you and be rude to you.
Love it. So speaking of reaching out, once again, how can people reach you?
So you can reach me on my website, ginascarpa.com, my studio website, positivevoicesct.com, or on social media, it's just Gina Scarpa pretty much everywhere, except I think TikTok is still voiceovers by Gina, but I don't really do too much on TikTok because I feel like I'm too old and I don't know how to edit anything. I don't know. I only have so many skills. It ends at TikTok editing. I can't handle another.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That it?
Yeah, that's everything.
So, okay, cool. Social media, you can also find her there, but I'm sure you can, find social media icons on the website too.
Yeah, just search me. It's just Gina. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally Gina Scarpa on Twitter, Instagram, and feel free to request, friend request me or send a message and say hi. I always love meeting new people and talking to them, answering questions whenever I can.
Awesome. And then of course you can find me at Sam Philyaw, PHILYAWVO.com. TikTok is at a fun sized adventure. All one word.
Great
Sam
name.
Philyaw VO on pretty much everything else, except LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just my name, Samantha Philyaw.
Yeah.
So
Same. Not
follow,
my
do
name is
all the
not
cool
Samantha Philyaw. It's
things.
just, I
Yeah.
said same, but just my name, not her name.
Right.
Imagine what a psycho.
So do all the follows and like you send a message if you want to say hello, or it's open people. That's the best part about this industry, is that we're all super cool and down to earth and super friendly most of the time,
Most of the
other
time,
than the people who would judge you for being on Fiverr.
9 times out of 10, people are friendly.
Exactly, you
There's always
always
that
got a
one.
few bad apples.
Yeah, they're out there. Trust me.
Anyway, I think that is it for today. It's been about an hour, and I just want to say thank you so much, for hopping on this vodcast. Always want to call it podcast, but it's
I like
definitely video.
vodcast.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's super nice to
vodcast.
actually talk to you. I mean, we've sort of like known each other for a
Yeah,
while online, but this has been such a great conversation today, and I'm super glad we got to know each other better today and
I've
realize
been
we have a lot of
following you for
similarities.
a while.
Yeah, we've been following. It's not creepy at all. I've been following you. But I definitely, I see a lot of similarities between us, and it was really nice talking to you today.
I loved it. It was a great conversation. All right,
Thanks.
you guys go out there and kick some butt and be
Yeah,
awesome creative entrepreneurs, and we will see you next time.
definitely. Bye.